Welcome to the Financial Fun Podcast with your host, Tammy Johnston. This is where Tammy talks with business owner parents and grandparents about the interesting and important subject of money. We promise this to be an interesting and open discussion, as that's how we learn best. And now, here's your host, author of the Financial Foundations. Financial Foundations is a series of books to teach kids about money, goal setting, and living a balanced life. Find out more at financialfun.ca. Here's Tammy Johnston.
First things first, I would like to thank all of my listeners that have subscribed and reviewed my podcast and invite you to subscribe and review if you haven't yet. I appreciate you helping us to get the word out and making financial literacy a safe and welcoming subject for kids and adults. Second, please check out my podcast website, financialfun.ca, where you will be able to access past shows, find out more about me and our guests, as well as purchase the beautifully illustrated Financial Foundations books that teach kids about money in a fun, healthy, and holistic way. Hello, and thank you once again for joining us on the Financial Fun Podcast. Today, our guest is the lovely and vibrant Nicole Fequet. Thank you for joining us, Nicole.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, Nicole, you want to tell us about what you do? What is your business?
I currently am a Pampered Chef independent consultant, and that, for anybody that isn't aware of what Pampered Chef is, that it's a bunch of kitchen tools that help make the busy family make healthy, quick meals, and lots of different tools and gadgets and stuff just to make everything go that much quicker for yourselves.
Oh, I'm a major Pampered Chef junkie. You've seen my kitchen. and I've been a fairly decent customer, I think, but I just love the Pampered Chef, especially the baking stones. Those are the best for like cookies and biscotti and that. Like, you can't beat them.
No, stoneware is my favorite, and it's used daily.
Well, I'm not quite like that because I don't do that much baking, but yeah, a lot of the tools they make everything so much easier to do.
I agree, 100%.
And what is your family situation, Nicole?
So I have a currently 12-year-old son. I was a single mom for 10 years, but recently I have found the one, and been with my current fiance for just 2.5 years now. And then my son is still in contact with his father, so he goes and sees him occasionally as well.
Oh, very good, very good. So thinking about money and stuff, when you were a kid, when did you first realize that money was something important and that you should be paying attention to it?
Late in life, unfortunately for me. It just, my mom tried to make us focus and save money and stuff like that, and to her dismay and now mine, didn't listen too well, and I spent more than I should have when I was younger, but probably when, your parents actually push you out the door, and so to speak, and tell you that you have to pay for this and that on your own.
That's how it goes with a lot of people, unfortunately. It's kind of the trial by fire because you weren't paying attention to the safety plans.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, and being the mom of a 12-year-old and stuff, like, what are some of the things that you're noticing with your son when it comes to the subject of money, and what is he asking and what is he paying attention to?
Definitely starting to learn to that he has to pay for things on his own. I started that lesson a little sooner than I learned it. He's had a couple different jobs, pet sitting and shoveling walks and stuff like that to start saving and stuff. So kind of just pushing him towards actually getting things that he wants. Currently it's a ukulele, and he's talked about a PS3 as well, but I've kind of got him leaning towards more the music side of things, thankfully, because we have enough gaming equipment in the house. So, but yeah, he tends to spend his money still on, lunches with his friends and stuff, which we're trying to advise him that that's probably not the best place for his money to go.
And how is that working out?
I'd like to say it's working out decently. It's still obviously not 100%, but now that he has his goal of wanting a ukulele and also a recording mic and stuff, because he's got a big passion for music, it's becoming more of a realistic reality for him.
Yes, I can definitely understand the gaming systems. Ayla's big goal right now is she wants the new Nintendo DS that's out because it comes along with this game. And she already has two, but it's this new one, and she's so excited about it because it's this one game coming out. And I'm going, okay, as long as you know that you're saving for it and it's coming out of your long-term savings, that's fine.
Yeah.
So she's quite excited, like, she's been asking me, Mom, when can I get a job? When can I get a job? And because she just turned 14, she legally can. So she's thinking about going and getting a job at McDonald's this summer. And I said, that would be absolutely wonderful. I would love for you to do that because you would learn so much there.
Yes, well, Colton is also at that stage where he wants the job more and more, definitely, just so he can get the things that he wants. But need to work still on the savings for the future as well.
So when you're talking to him about savings and stuff, how do those conversations go?
In one ear and out the other?
Yes, you definitely have a preteen. And I have to say, it doesn't typically get any better when you hit the teenage years. But we keep dripping and we keep dripping. So
yeah.
One of the things, because Ayla's always had her jar system, so she has her 6 jars, so whenever she gets money in, because she got, like, money for her birthday and stuff like that, going, it has to be split up into your jars, and if it's, like, birthday money or something, she can put the extra into her, like, for her new Nintendo DS fund or whatever. So she's going, okay, I have to make this much so that I have this much to get what I want. She's getting really good at the math part on that stuff.
That's good. Yeah, we're still working on that with Colton, but definitely, I think it's starting to sink in. Just like you said, you just kind of keep dripping it into them, and hopefully one of these times it'll just get caught.
And the thing is you'll find that they get the message when you're not even paying attention. You'll catch them, you'll overhear them like talking with their friends or something, or doing something on their own. You're going, oh my God, they actually were paying attention.
I did get through to him.
And that's what it's like, oh, okay, I have to be very aware of what I say, because they're always listening, whether or not they make out that they are.
They're listening and they're watching. They've always got eyes and ears on you, even when they go, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And how do you find, like, is there a difference between how you deal with him with money and how his dad deals with him with money? Being a single parent but still having his dad around?
You know, I have to have that conversation with him and how him and his dad decide money situations. I would say yes, there probably is quite a big difference, because I do push him into saving it and putting it in his account, and you know, I don't mind the idea of him saving up for certain things, being only 12. That's kind of where your savings and learning to save up for things begins. So definitely different aspects. I know he gets birthday money, and it usually goes to being able to go get a game or something, when he's from his dad's side anyways. And from our side, I guess I'm starting to be more strict. I haven't been too strict just yet in life with him, and I do let him spend his money on certain things, but I also remind him, well, you just, you could spend it on this, or you could do this instead and save up for something bigger that you really want, so that he kind of weighs the options and looks at, okay, what do I really want?
Yeah, and that's a big one, because one of the biggest problems we have when we're combating the marketing and everything is our society has become so much about what do I want right this very second, and it's very impulsive.
Yes.
And kids are so used to just, okay, I either want it or unfortunately, a lot of the time, they get what they've been advertised to and marketed to, and then they forget about it like 2 minutes later, because it wasn't as exciting as I thought it was.
Right.
And it was so easy to get, because there was no work or effort or patience I had to put into it on my end.
Yeah, and it's hard because there is so much feeding them social media wise, because they are big on all this technology now, and they watch the TV or on their phones playing games that throw advertising in, and it makes it look like so much bigger of an item than it really is to them.
Well, and if you don't get this right now, you're not going to be in the loop. And look, all your friends are getting it, and this is what the cool kids have. So if you want to be cool, you have to have it too.
Yes. And I mean, it's just like us too. I mean, there's always those things you're like, oh, I really want that, but we just have learned that no, we need to sit back and make that decision. Do we really need this?
Well, the people that are aware of it take that time to ask the question, but it is so common when I first start working with people and I start telling them, go through and do an inventory of your house and your cupboards and stuff. How much stuff did you spend good hard money on that you've never used?
That's true. I don't want to look at that list right now.
No. Well, it's all the things and one of the big, I don't want to say trends, but I don't have a better word, but one of the big trends now is the simplification and the decluttering and people going through, because how much stuff do we have in our houses and in our cars and our garages and our sheds and stuff, that we spent money for, that we have to maintain, people that go out and they have to go out and buy another thing because they can't find where they put the last two that they bought.
Right.
And things like food expiring in your pantry, and then you have to throw it out and going, well, what? That was a waste on like every level.
Yes. Whether it's the produce you buy, so you get your fruits and vegetables, and you forget to actually eat them.
Yeah, they turn into that soup in the bottom of your veggie jar.
Yeah, I know, and it actually came up recently in a conversation that I really need to focus on meal planning to just reduce that waste. Waste and extra costs.
So question, with you being the Pampered chef person and having a son that's old enough, are you working on teaching Colton to cook and do this stuff on his own, especially because he's hitting the teenage years and he's going to be eating you out of house and home, dear?
Oh yes, he's begun that stage already for sure. But no, he does really well. He does know how to cook a few different things, and he shows interest in wanting to learn how to make certain things like my cookies, which he absolutely loves, and just try new things with foods and stuff, so that it's not. Tell him that's what I do 100% of the time. Like, I'm changing recipes all the time. I'll have something there to guide me, but often it's like, oh, I really don't like that spice. I'm going to try this one. Or I don't like that vegetable. Let's replace it with this.
And what about, like, one of the things that I'm working big time on with Ayla right now is teaching her how to grocery shop and pay attention to, like, the different prices and things like that. Because sometimes it's cheaper to get the bigger box and sometimes it's not. And watching her eyes get huge when she figures that stuff out.
Yeah, it's something that I'm definitely working on personally for myself too, because I find that as you grow up and you're taught and stuff as you're growing up, that certain brands are what you always saw in the household, and that's what your parents always bought, or your grandma or whatever. I find that I have to pay attention to that a little bit more myself. So he's learning with me too, in that sense, to that the store brand may be the better deal, and guess what? The taste is really not different, not like it is in your head.
Well, yeah, I've been teaching Ayla, like I said, there's some things, the no-name brand, there's no difference whatsoever, and then there are definitely some things that you want to go with the brand name, but
yeah.
So Ayla doesn't like coming grocery shopping with me. She doesn't think it's fun. There's many other things that she would rather be doing, but I keep telling her, I'm going, well, number one, you have to learn. I'm going, you're planning on moving away to Vancouver to go to school, so you're not going to be living at home with me and Dad anymore. So you have to learn how to do all this stuff. And I said, you're going to go off to college and you're going to be the freaking rock star on campus because you're the one that's going to actually know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's always, like, certain staples that you get. So one of the things is, I'll get these cans of condensed milk. And I was telling Ayla about, like you said, sometimes you want the bigger ones and sometimes you want the smaller ones. And they were having the cans of condensed milk on for $1 a can. Normally they're like $1.27 or $1.35. Or you can get a case of 24 for $30. And I was telling her, like I said, you have to watch for this stuff. I said, based on this, which one should we get? Should we get the case or should we get the individuals? And she goes, well, we need to get the case. And I said, stop for a moment. How many cans are in the case? So she counted it out. And I said, and how much are they asking for it? And then how much does that work out to the can? And I said, and what are the individual ones? And then so she saw, like, if she'd be paying $6 more, she'd get 6 extra cans if she bought them as individuals. And her whole face just lit up and she just went, oh, those cheaters.
Yep.
So now she pays a lot more attention so that, like, when we're going out, because it's one of the chores she gets to do with me, is, like I said, we go out and we do the grocery shopping and what do we have at home and putting together the list, but then, like I said, paying attention. Do we want, like, how do we want to be doing this? So she's actually considering it as kind of a game now because she's very frugal with her money. She does not like spending it unnecessarily.
Which is a great thing to have.
Yeah, so she pays very close attention to that.
Yeah. It's something that I find that even that I have to catch myself with as well, because, a big part of it is I'll go over convenience rather than the cost, right? And that's a habit that I'm beginning to break because I'm realizing that the money situation, it needs to be looked after a little bit better in something just as small as a couple dollars here and a couple dollars there. Convenience versus savings.
Well, and a lot of it comes down to, like, what do you have for time and things like that? Because there's some things that, yep, I fully make from scratch and we'll do all of that. And then there's other ones where I go with the convenience, because if the convenience, I'll actually use it. Where if I'm completely honest with myself, I'm going, if I have to put in all this extra work, it isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I buy the bags of salad because we'll eat them. But if I have to, like, I know this sounds awful, but if I have to take the time to cut up the lettuce and do this and do that, it's not going to happen. Most times I don't have the time. I'm rushing. Where if I've got the salad in a bag, I put it in there. It's done. It's like a 2-second job. Where if I'm going, I don't have the time or the inclination to cut up all this stuff, it isn't happening.
Yeah, it's really tough to get out of that habit too. And just I find that for myself, it's a little bit easier because of the tools that I have in my household. Being the Pampered Chef consultant, we have things to make that easier, but you just have to make the time to use those tools to prep and plan and prepare it prior to use.
Yes. Well, there's definitely some things that I do, like when we go out grocery shopping, like I have my bucket of, like, the onions and the peppers and stuff that we cut up and a few things like that. But like I said, what I've been teaching with Ayla is, like I said, realistic, paying attention to different things. And like I said, now she's considering it more of a game. She still gets a little grumpy when I drag her out, but it's getting much, much better. I'm thinking maybe in a year or two I will let her loose and have her go do the grocery shopping on her own and see how it goes.
Just stick to the list.
Yeah, stick to the list. You know what we need to be taking care of.
Yeah.
So, to finish up here, if you could make sure that Colton has 3 money lessons that he has down solid when he moves out so that you feel like you've been a success as a parent, what are the 3 things about money you want to make sure he knows?
I definitely need him to pay attention to what's coming in, what's going out, having that budget, saving, overspending, and just being aware of where his money is going. So I guess it all comes down to budget itself, but definitely just making sure that he sees where his money's going. He's working hard to, make sure that everything's covered, just so he doesn't have to struggle. So awareness and budget and savings.
Savings are always a good thing.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to visit with us. It was great having you on the podcast.
I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Enjoy your long weekend.
You too.
Before we leave each other, I would ask all of you listening to please subscribe to and rate my podcast. A review would be most appreciated, and feedback is always welcome. Whether it be a comment, future topic suggestions, and/or questions you or your kids would like to have answered in the Ask Tammy column on the financialfund.ca website. Please feel free to check me out on Facebook at Financial Foundation's Children's Books, on Twitter at Financial Fun, and Instagram at financial.fun.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Financial Fun Podcast. Join Tammy Johnston again next week. For more information, please visit financialfun.ca.